I drove by a gas station on my way home. Um, there's a bunch of guys out there, right? About 10, could be more. They're all just, drunk and yelling. And, you know, as you're driving by, you're probably thinking to yourself, thank God I'm not going to go in there, right? Um, so I wanted to share some thoughts about my opinions about guys who loiter outside of stores or buildings and what kind of stuff that can be going on there and, some thoughts, stuff to do. The first thing I want to say is that they may be up to no good in a way that does not affect you. Could be two guys waiting for a guy to pick them up so they could do illegal shit somewhere else. Or so they can, maybe he's going to pick them up and they're going to sell him drugs. Who knows what's going to go on. And that has nothing to do with you, right? You walk up, you see two guys very engaged in conversation with each other. They seem like they're having a pleasant time. That could be fine. Yeah, you want to be in your condition, yellow or orange or whatever. But, yeah, it could be all right, you know what I'm saying? And that's important, too. There's a lot of punks out there who just don't have somewhere to hang out. You know what I mean? I think we've all been there. But, yeah, so let's look at what to do, from a safety perspective. So, the first thing I want to say, if you see some asshole standing outside of some doorway trying to be a fucking prick, he is essentially Jafar at the end of Aladdin, when Jafar is like, I want to be a genie, I want the powers of the genie, and then the gauntlets come on him, and now he's like, oh, I'm fucked. What I mean by that is that guy the guy who's standing outside has just put himself in the position of a doorman. Been a doorman for almost 10 years, okay? So, I know our weaknesses. And those weaknesses are known to everyone else. So any doorman who's watching this who's like, no, come on, man. I mean, our brothers have been hurt, shot, stabbed. We are vulnerable. And this is how it's always been. So let's even it up a little bit, okay? So that guy is standing outside of the fucking gas station being a dick, or a 7-Eleven. He now has the vulnerabilities of a doorman, okay? His back is, against that door. And you're watching him. Keep that in mind, I have a story I'll tell at another time where some guys literally came up and posted up in a car and gathered as much information as they could before they could go get a bunch more guys, and we had a very violent situation. People trying to run each other over, guns, that kind of thing. And I'll talk about that another time. So, the first thing is, he's standing there and you haven't decided to engage him yet, or to walk by him, right? And that is your advantage. It is a big one, okay? If you're in a car, you sit in that car, you think, you know what I'm saying? When I think about, now intimidation is not worth it. Don't be in the car thinking about how you're going to mad dog this guy or whatever. I like to think of Blackie Lawless, the immortal Blackie Lawless from Wasp, right? And in the song Animal, which I understand is about fucking, but, violence and fucking are similar. He says, I'm on the prowl and I watch you closely. I lie waiting for you. I'm the wolf with the sheepskin clothing. And I'm not going to, of course, try to emulate that motherfucker's voice. He's a god. But that is what goes through my mind when I see a guy who looks like they want trouble or something or who seems like they're an aggressive type dude. I think to myself that I'm the wolf with the sheepskin clothing. What that means is that I'm going to be as pleasant as possible. Okay? Now, we're all different. I'm not going to be one of those self-defense guys who's going to tell you how to behave. I love where they're coming from. But the things that I went through to go from being a really nice, type kid who's kind of shy and just wants to play video games and watch anime, to a guy who will do what has to be done, that shit just ain't pleasant. And if somehow you meet an instructor who can help you change your behavior somehow, that's great. Maybe that guy used to be a drill instructor. That's awesome. You know what I'm saying? But instilling a violent intent in somebody is not the easiest thing. So I like the wolf with the sheepskin clothing. The reason why I like this is because for myself and a lot of people, it's natural to be pleasant, to be nice. So while being very pleasant and welcoming and fun, I'm thinking about all the things I'm going to do to this guy. Now, He's not stupid, man. If this really is one of those guys, he'll pick up on it. What's going to happen is he's probably, we hope, going to be like, oh, this is a person who's operating similar to me. They're have one thing going on the surface, but they're thinking about something. They're planning something, okay? Usually, that can help you out there. They might back off. The more of them there are, the more of a problem this is, okay? You got 2 or 3, once again, if it seems like they're okay and they're having fun and you want to risk it, sure, walk up, try not to bother them or eye contact them or whatever. If they say something to you, you say something nice, that's cool, man. You can do that too. But when it gets to be a lot of dudes, things can get dicey and it's not worth it. If it's a crowd, don't go. If you see about 10 guys and they're all drunk and like yelling and being crazy, don't go. Because there's not a safety net for you there. If you got 2 or 3 guys, 1 or 2 of them could just be like, hey man, it ain't worth it. I mean, who cares? You know what I'm saying? You got a mob, dude, like it's... And I'm going to do a video about crowds. Like I said, I had something I want to talk about in terms of crowds, so we'll get there. Okay, now that you've walked by, the dudes to go inside, or the dude, you need to think while you're in the store, okay? Not too much, but just, consider what's going on out there. Maybe take a couple looks out there. Hopefully, they're not staring at you because you might be becoming a mark now. But, keep, everything together, watching or whatever. When you walk back out or on your way back out, be prepared for violence. And that doesn't mean it's going to happen. I hope that what anyone takes away from this, okay, is that you don't have to do anything in terms of fighting unless it already happens. I don't want you to be aggressive or to, try to turn it into something. That's why I say wolf in the sheepskin's clothing. Still be that unassuming guy, Still walk out like a nice dude. There's another further kind of way to walk out. You probably do that, It doesn't matter. Maybe they're up busy with their own shit, But yes, as you're walking out and you're going to have to pass through, whatever this asshole is. This is shit that bouncers deal with, dude. We're outside all day. Out of this door, people see us, they come in, they try to gather information about us, they go inside, they start thinking about what they're going to do, and they come out and fucking, if, they're in trouble or whatever, they might try to take a swing at you because they, looked at you and figures you out. It doesn't, who knows, okay? But I'm trying to explain that these dudes who hang out inside of stores and try to fuck with people, they are vulnerable, okay? They're very vulnerable. And it's up to, us as good citizens that when we see people like that, you plot on them, okay? You plot on them from the darkness. You are in your car, Think about it. Or don't go in, I very often will drive by a place with a bunch of crazies out there and I'm not going to go in, okay? So at the end of the day, like most self-defense guys, because we're all kind of starting to hone in on similar things, the knowledge is coming together. So I also don't want anybody to fight. Not at all. But prepare to.